You, yeah,
Just make me the host.
You're on my screen. But yeah, you should be.
Yeah, no, make me the host so I can, if you don't mind making me the host, so I can share my screen. Because I was just gonna take everybody to Insiders and show you all what it is. So while you're making me the host, just let me know when I'm on. I'll oh, cool, thank you. So my name is Matt Faircloth. My company's the DeRosa Group, and we came up with a program recently called DeRosa Insiders. There it is. Myself and Justin Fraser came out with it because a lot of people, come to me, and I'm grateful that I'm able to help people. But a lot of people want to, pick my brain or get some ideas, or, I had some ideas for this guy over here that was talking about this deal with the contingency. My advice on that: put it under contract and then hire Justin, have him come out and then use that inspection report to get a better price. Because you don't know until you have a professional come look at it. But it's advice like that I'd like to be able to give people. I've been doing this for a while, for 15 years or so. And I want to help people. I also wanted to give people an access to see what it is to build a real estate community. And we've got a good amount of units, and we're looking at bigger stuff, and we're looking at bigger deals. And we wanted to create a private group for people to see what it is to run a larger real estate company, a lot more live sessions, stuff I can't do on YouTube. Those of you guys that don't know, we have a fairly active YouTube community as well. But I can't just go and do YouTube videos that are, just really inside looks at the company, that are like longer form. And obviously it's hard to interact and do stuff live and everything. You can do YouTube live, but it's hard to do long form live YouTube stuff. So we wanted a place where we could show people an inside look at the day-to-day operations of a real estate company, also letting people pick our brains a little bit, and helping them, and also helping them do deals, and just trying to, in a more hands-on approach, help people in more time that I can give them on YouTube and more time that I can give them in other environments. So we wanted to create a community that's just more intimate with us, and I do weekly sessions on it and everything like that. And that's called DeRosa Insiders. Beyond that, we wanted to create a space that people can come when they want to pick our brain, because that's there too. So it's just a simple private Facebook group. It is a paid group, but you'll pay more for coffee than you do for this in a month. I mean, it's $24 a month. So here's what it looks like. And it's first of all of my investors are members of DeRosa Insiders. So everybody that's invested with us is a member. And so that's other folks you get to hang out with and rub elbows with and stuff like that in Insiders. And then on top of that, folks that have done deals with us and folks that have gotten involved in our projects one way or another are part of Insiders as well. So this is it. Again, this is a private Facebook group. It's nothing special, aside from just a private Facebook group that we go live on and stuff like that. But it's a private Facebook group that has direct access to me and Justin Fraser, and a lot of the people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. This is me and Justin, and we're out at a property in Winston-Salem. This is a 336 unit that I was at this week on this Tuesday. And we are at best and final on this deal. And we're using this deal as a case study for folks to just watch, and just watch a multifamily property project unfold. We started analyzing this deal on Insiders. I'll see if I can find it. This is all video of us, again, long form. This is 30-minute video of us driving down or driving home. This is us driving home from the site. That's us driving to the site. And people, we just did like a half an hour, 45-minute conversation. Folks just, picking our brain. This one has just comments and everything like that. That's the deal right there. And this is an hour and a half long video of us underwriting the deal. And this is from us starting it okay, here's the property, and my underwriter, my acquisitions guy, and Justin, who does our asset management, is all on this call. That's an hour and a half video of us analyzing a real estate project. At the end of the day, it's just good data that you can just kind of be a fly on the wall, and watch something like this unfold. Let's see, I'll scroll back. Here's our multifamily. We brought on our whole team, and for multifamily. Let's see if I might not be able to get that far back, but we even had a broker, our real estate broker that we work with, Here's a tour of this is a tour of one of our existing properties. This is a, which one's this? This is a 222 unit no, you know what? That's not a site tour. I'm sorry. That's not it. That's us interviewing this guy who's the brain. He's our underwriter. But we did a site tour of, there it is. We put this deal on there. This is a 16 unit. It's not our deal. We're not buying it. We didn't put it. We found a 16 unit through a broker relationship, put it on Insiders, and a bunch of insiders had a right to just decided to take the deal and go bid on it. It went such a frenzy on Insiders that we got the broker that had the deal up for sale come on Insiders and do a live session to present the deal to our community. This is the site tour I was talking about. This is a site tour of one of our multis. It sees walk-in units and stuff like that. That's what's awesome about StreamYard is you can, just stream video from the field. So he's walking through, this is Preakness. So this is a 222 unit in Kentucky. And our field guy was just walking the properties. We just put it on. Way more than content that I could put on YouTube and everything like that. But we wanted to do a give back. We wanted to create a community. And I can't do it all for free. We got to have something to cover our overhead and costs. So we wanted to make it as affordable as possible. So $24 was the number we came up with per month. And that. So it's just I don't know. I think it's a great deal for what you get. So that's Insiders. I'm happy to answer questions about it. And obviously I'm not here to, I'm only here because Justin allowed me to promote that briefly to you guys, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk to you guys and answer your questions. And I think the world of Justin, and I'm local enough that I'm happy to do this with you guys. So that's DeRosa Insiders. You guys join it by going to DeRosaGroup.com/insiders. Is how you join the community. You pay there at my website, DeRosaGroup.com/insiders. And then that'll give you access to the group. You just go and find the group on Facebook and request access to it after you paid. If you want that link texted to you, and you want an enormous basket of goodies, I put together like several hours worth of YouTube content, but it's not on YouTube. It's just video content. I teach all the real estate lingo. It's a 30-minute video of like what cap rate is, NOI, EGI, loss to lease, what all that stuff means. You guys can have all that for free. You don't even have to join Insiders. All you got to do is text my company name, DeRosa, to the number 66866. Just take your cell phone and text that there. That's free. Okay. And you can get that. And then that's just like a free thank you for being awesome and for being you guys. So do that. And if you want to join Insiders, you'll get a link as well to it. And we're not going to text spam you. We're not going to put you on a text list and start blowing you up or anything like that. That's not what that's all about. It's just an easy way for you guys to get the information. Okay. So text the word DeRosa, my company name, to 66866. And then I'll give you a link to Insiders as well. So cool. Justin, that's what I got for Insiders. I'm happy to, if you want, we can just jump into Q&A from there. If that works for you.
Yeah. Or if anyone has any questions about the Insiders group, I have a question on that. So like if people someone who's in the group has like a specific question, how like does that work? Do they reach out through the group?
Posted on the group. It's a Facebook page. It's a private Facebook group. She's posted on the group. Either me or Justin will answer it, or one of the many members that are members of the group can answer it and jump in. But it's a private group that we all support each other. So we don't have, it's not, it's direct access to me and Justin through a Facebook group, and I'm on it every day. But I may not be the one that answers your question. Other people that are other investors or whatever may contribute as well to it. And I go live every week on the group too.
So it's like a mastermind, kind of like a mastermind.
Yeah, it's a mastermind, correct. And as soon as the world opens back up and gets normal again, we'll be doing insider face-to-faces and probably insider retreats down at the Renault Winery and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have any questions about Insiders? No.
Hey, Matt, quick question. My name's Sean. I'm new here, so I'm not familiar with your group, but is it focused on large multifamily syndication deals, or is it a variety of things?
No, so that's what we do. So you're going to see in the broadcast of us from the road or stuff that we put in the view of looking inside our company, that's what you're going to see. But it is not, the Q&A is not limited to that. You can Q&A us on anything you guys want to get into. This gentleman here that's buying the flip that has the potential structural issues and stuff like that's a perfect example. That issue would do well on Insiders because there's a bunch of real estate investors of all different walks that are a part of it. So it's not just multifamily, but that is what we as a company are up to. But we're doing other stuff too. We do hard money loans. We do all kinds of stuff. So there's other facets we can talk about, but our main function is multifamily acquisitions. And we find that a lot of people want to talk about that. So that's something we put out there a lot.
Got it. Thank you.
Matt, I had a question. This is related to syndication. The IRR, how do you guys use the IRR? You guys run like a cash flow calculator, like a syndication model cash flow calculator, which will give you an IRR. That's how you figure out your exit, right? What IRRs are you looking for, and how much do you look at that IRR number when you're looking at the deal?
Man, okay, I'll be straight. I think IRR is BS. I don't look at it. I think most people don't understand it. I think most people that use the term, and I'm not saying this about you, I think most people that use the term don't truly know what it means. And a lot of investors, not us, but a lot of investors that are going to passively invest in deals confuse IRR with two things: cap rate and cash on cash return. They think it means, something similar to that, right? And I've had so many investors get it mixed up. Now, when we look at it, IRR is taking the whole enchilada into consideration. It's taking how much money you make on the back end. It's taking cash flow. It's taking principal reduction. You pay your mortgage down and stuff like that. So it takes all those things into consideration. So it's a very complex number. And there's even pre-tax IRR and post-tax IRR, and you factor in what people pay in taxes. You factor in the time value of money and things like that. I mean, it's a complex equation. But we look more at cash on cash return, mainly because it's simpler to get our head around and it's simpler to explain to investors. And honestly, truly, Justin, I think it matters more than IRR does. Technically, IRR is supposed to be a tool to be used to compare different types of investments. Well, okay, I'd invest in this apartment building and that's going to produce a 14% IRR over 5 years. Or I could invest in Microsoft stock and it's going to produce a 22% IRR, or I could buy a coin operated laundromat business and it's going to produce X amount of, you're supposed to use it to compare different types of asset classes and look at what the best true return on your money is. But I think it's overused. And unfortunately, people, especially like the biggest culprits of this one, is on websites like CrowdStreet and Fundrise and Realty Mogul and stuff like that. You see IRR get manipulated, meaning like you see deals that are propped up with really high IRRs. And unfortunately, some investors get, fish hooked on that because they think that, oh, it's got a 23% IRR. That's amazing. But if you look at the numbers, the deal doesn't do very well during its life. Then magically some kind of fairy dust gets sprinkled on the deal and they're going to sell it for double what they bought it for 5 years from now. And that's what creates this huge shot in the arm. I've analyzed deals on CrowdStreet and stuff like that. And I've seen that a lot of deals that show really high IRRs are actually that most, like 75% of the revenue comes on sale. But when the property's done. So, I hope that answers your question. So the true answer to your question is we don't put a whole lot of weight on it. But we do, when investors ask, we do try and get to a 12 to 15% IRR. So it is part of our calculations, but I'd much rather talk about how much cash I'm going to send an investor on an annual basis versus what their IRR is going to be, God willing, and the creek don't rise when I sell the property 5 years from now.
Gotcha. So how do you guys plan your exit? When you guys are doing your pre-acquisition like strategy or analysis, how do you figure out your exit time and plan all that? What numbers do you look for to plan an exit?
Well, we try and keep I've sold very few things. We try and keep assets as best we can. Like I'm in the middle, we have a 49 unit in Pennsylvania and we're just it's approaching its 5-year time horizon. We're just going to refinance it and offer investors a buyout. They can either re-up and stay in for another 5 years, or they can take a buyout at today's value, or whenever we refinance it, whenever we pull that trigger. So I don't like to sell because it's not why I got into this thing to have to deal with buying it, would have to deal with selling good properties. If they're performing well, I'd rather not sell them. I'd rather just slowly buy out the investor pool. And that's what we've done on some other properties. So, I mean, how do you calculate it? You got to stick to your word. So if you tell investors that I'm going to sell in somewhere between 5 to 6 years, then we'll try and sell around then. But it's also about getting investors a good return. So if I can sell and get them a nice profit on the sale, then I'll do that, because it's really about that. If I'm going to sell, like we've sold a lot of small stuff around Trenton. That's where we got started, is in Trenton. We sold an apartment building in Philly, a small 18-unit one, just because this investor just banged his head on our door until I agreed to sell it to him. It was just a good time to sell. And we also did a 1031 exchange on that property into something larger. And that's, we've sold to scale up, is mostly when we've sold, but I try not to sell. So selling creates a problem. It creates a, like, what do I do with this money I just made? Unless you need it for capital, for capital preservation or just to lever up or something like that. But I don't think selling is the way you should make your money in real estate investing.
With that whole philosophy, are you seeing your investors, like at that 5-year mark, are you seeing them want to pull out, or do most of them want to re-up with you, or what's the investors doing?
It's Dan talking, right? Okay. I was about to say, like, whoever's talking, raise your hand above your head, because I can't. Okay, cool. There was a delay, and I'm like, that guy's moving his lips, but his lips aren't matching his. Most of the time we get investors re-up with us, but it depends on the investor. Some folks want to diversify. We launched one deal in Kentucky, and then that got fully funded, and then we launched another deal 6 months later, like a quarter of a mile away from that first deal. And a lot of the investors in the first deal in Kentucky weren't willing to invest in the second one, because they're like, well, we're already exposed to that market. We're already, once you come up with something in another city, we'll consider it and everything like that. So it's interesting. Certain investors' philosophy. I've got some investors. We're hopefully, if I launch that deal in Winston-Salem, if we get it, that'll be called DeRosa Capital 11, because it's the 11th syndication we've done. I have an investor that invested with me on like DeRosa Capital 4, I think, because it was his first deal with us, and he's invested in every deal up through then. So, so Dan, some people do, some people don't. It really depends on investor philosophy, and that. So yeah, some people just kind of like to kind of set it and forget it with you as a syndicator. Some investors just want to spread it around, and some investors are going to, honestly, I've gotten calls that have been like, hey, listen, I've got this IRA. It's been sitting here. I want to put it somewhere so I can just kind of put it over there and forget about it. Can I just give you the whole thing and you can do good work with it? We've gotten that too. They're tapped out after that, and that there's really not much more they can do with us. So it depends on the investor, Dan. Does that help to answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Matt, how do you structure your syndications? Does it change per deal, or is there a general model that you follow in terms of like limited partnership, general partner, waterfall structure?
We're changing it today. I mean, not today, but like in today's market, we're changing it. We used to do, I got started doing like really small deals. My first deal was my first syndication, DeRosa Capital. It wasn't called DeRosa Capital 1 because we didn't know there was going to be a DeRosa Capital 2. So it was something else. But that was like a 50-50 split with somebody who put in $50K. I did all the work and he put in the money, and we bought 2 townhouses, So that was our first equity split. And it's changed a bit since then, but it's kind of evolved around that 70-30 model, because that's kind of where investor profitability, that's about where real estate is, to give investors the returns you want to give them. If you want to give them that IRR that Justin talked about, you want to give them a cash on cash return in the high single digits, low double digits, you need to be around a 70-30 split or even an 80-20 split, and everything like that. So I don't like 80-20 because I don't feel like there's enough skin in the game for us at that point. It's just really not enough return. I've seen people doing 90-10 splits and stuff like that, which is insane. So we try and land somewhere around 70-30. And we just started doing preferred returns. I don't like preferred returns because I think it's better to just do a down the line split. But the market kind of drove us that way. And we had investors that were like, once you start doing a preferred return, let me know. So we had to start doing that. What we're doing now is, so let me go back to your, what investors don't realize, passive investors, is that doing deals like that, 70-30 split with a pref and everything like that, the investor, the passive investor, not us, let's just, if we're all active, we're all active. In my book, Jesus, I can't do the mirror thing. I can't, it's hard to like look at myself and figure out which shoulder to point over. That book right there, Raising Private Capital, talks about deal providers and cash providers. Okay. The cash provider, the passive investor, is the one that takes all the risk. In a typical syndication, the passive investor takes all the risk. The deal provider is the one that's guaranteeing the loan, but if it's a big enough deal, it's non-recourse. The passive investor is, they're maybe making a pref, but as I talked to Justin about with IRR, a lot of the passive investors wins may be on the upside, maybe on the sale. And so the passive investor is taking the risk of their profitability coming on the back end, right? The syndicator is making a fee on the front end. They're making fees every month off of rents. They get a ride along on every dollar that gets made. They get to take a rake of that for themselves. And if the property sells, they probably get a big fee called a capital transaction fee. And then they also get a chunk of that upside sale. No syndicator would ever explain it to an investor that way, but most investors end up taking the majority of the risk on meeting the profit that on getting the profit that they are told they're going to get. It's very risky that they're going to hit that, that they're going to get that profit that's being quoted to them, right? Because of the way those deals are structured, So what we're doing and going into, with COVID and with, the potential recession we may be facing and everything like that, we're taking a lot of that risk back from investors and just giving them we're moving more towards a flat rate of return. So, maybe not a ton of upside, but how about a, flat rate, set your watch by it. I can't say guarantee, but it ought to be, it's pretty much guaranteed for what we're doing. And so they're just going to get a check in the mail and the money's going to get diversified over a bunch of different things. So it's not going to be just, and that's the other risk that investors are taking. They're betting on one horse. They're betting on that rental property that Jacob got me, that 100 unit building that he brought me, that property is going to do really well. And that market that he chose is going to do really well. And those tenants that live in that property and that property manager are going to do really well. So many factors hinge upon that return of them getting. And so we're taking a lot of that away and we're going to diversify we're building a private equity fund and we're going to diversify it across a bunch of different assets to give investors more uniformity on that. And in exchange for us taking that risk back, we're taking away a lot of the upside. So that's our win, is we'll take the upside, but investors are getting flat, predictable rates of returns that are not spread across a bunch of different asset classes. Does that make sense? And we're also, another risk that investors take is, let's say, Jacob, somebody invests with you. They give you $100,000. Some life tragedy happens. God forbid, their wife or their husband passes away, or major family issue, they lose their job, something like that comes up. And they want their $100,000 back. As much as you can tell them, well, it's not that hard to get it back if you're in my syndication. What they have to do is they have to sell their shares to another investor in the fund. So if all of us here on the screen all invest in Jacob's deal, and we all know that he's looking to sell, really bad, then he may not get, or if I need to sell my shares, I might not get a very good number for my shares. So if you want liquidity and you're into syndication, it's extremely hard to get, which makes syndications risky as well. These things don't get explained to investors, and they're told to put money that they can part with, or then the PPM that's really thick tells them, when you invest in a syndication, at the end of the day, you could lose all this money or whatever. So we're taking that back too, because the fund that we're going to do is going to be liquid. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of things change that are going to drive risk back to the syndicators, back to the cash providers, and take risk away from investors. So that's where I think things are going, Jacob. But yeah, 70-30 split plus a pref is what the world has been for the last 5 years. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
Yeah, no, thanks for the explanation. Really learned a lot there.
I hope that helped.
Matt, I have a question about
What's up?
syndication with non-accredited investors. So I've had a couple people ask me as I try and put together capital. Hey, I have a friend or my uncle or whoever that wants to put in money. Obviously, I don't know them, so I don't have.
Who's got the friend? You got the friend, or one of your friends has a friend?
Like one of my friends has a friend who may be interested in investing.
Got it.
How do you skate around that pre-existing relationship? Not skate around it necessarily, but that point where you can use that person legally.
Okay, you get a couple options. Number one, if you got a deal now, okay, you need to work out a deal with your friend that has the uncle that wants to invest. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a second because there's stipulations again around your friend helping you raise money. If you don't have a deal right now, get to know the uncle. Have the friend introduce you to the uncle and develop a pre-existing with the uncle now before you have a deal. And then, hey, the uncle is one of your investors, likely your buddy is not going to be introducing you to this uncle of his or hers in, just out of the goodness of their heart. They're going to be doing it because they want to be a part, or maybe they want something out of this, right? So likely option one is going to be the better way to go with it. You need to find a way to bring your buddy onto your team, but their job cannot be simply to raise money. The problem is that an investment in a apartment building deal is a security, right? So if somebody on this call helps raises money for a syndication, they sold a security. They sold, just like selling shares of Microsoft, they sold a security. Now you're allowed to do that if you're one of the owners of a company. You're allowed to sell shares of your own company. If you're not an owner of the company, you need a license, Series 7 to sell securities, right? Nobody here is likely licensed to sell securities, and your deal's not registered with the SEC to be sold anyway. It's not registered with FINRA and that kind of stuff. So what you would need to do is to bring your buddy into your company as an officer, not as a fundraiser, because that's not an office. That cannot be their only function. It could be your asset manager, your bookkeeper, your whatever it is that they do. So I would develop a job description for your buddy. And investor relations could be one of the things that they do, but it can't be the only thing they do. Does that make sense?
Be part of the general partnership at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Or option one would be, if you don't have a deal in place now, you have time, obviously.
Get to know the uncle.
With uncles.
And you can't write a check to your buddy. Under no circumstances can you give them a check for helping you with funds, because that's totally compensating for compensating someone for selling security. So you can't do that either.
Got it. So just short answer is create a relationship with that person ahead of time.
Yeah, create a relationship with the uncle, or if your buddy knows a lot of people, if the uncle is the only person that they know that has any wealth, then find yourself another partner, right? But if you've got people that have a deep network, that have a lot of capital that they can put towards in your deal, find a way for them to be your capital raiser, for properties, for projects that you find the deal and they raise the money for it.
Yeah.
But understand, capital's not hard to come by. You guys got to change your mindset around it. So just because one person has an uncle that has money does not mean that one person is your end all be all. There's a lot of people with money that are out there that want to put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I got you. I've had a couple people bring it up to me like, hey, I have a friend who would be interested too. So yeah, that's a good point. Unless the limited partner that I'm talking to has 10 people that want to invest, it wouldn't probably make sense to bring them on as a general partner.
Mm-hmm.
I just got one person. And
it's not worth it. It's not worth the equity and the sweat you'd have to give away to that person and the upside ownership for one contact.
Right. Okay.
Matt, have you seen the mindset of your investors changing with all the COVID stuff, or raising money? Has it become easier, more difficult?
In some ways, a lot of people are very Wall Street jaded right now. They're like, they're kind of looking at that thing like a roulette wheel up in New York, So, so it's become easier in that way that you're offering. We've started to put out there that we're offering an alternative to Wall Street level investment. So we've been more vocal about that. But what's funny, Dan, is that when COVID happened, we used to get, because of all the YouTubing, and because of the book and because everything like that, we get regular phone calls from folks that want to invest with us. And so we were probably taking, say, between 4 and 6 investor calls a week, of, conference calls and, presentations and all this other kind of stuff. That up until COVID, that was what was going on. COVID happened, stops, it's gone. Nobody's calling. Everybody's sitting on their hands. And the investors I did talk to told me they were waiting for, because they thought, I don't know why people thought this, but they thought COVID was going to happen and then everything was going to get cut in half in price. And they thought that they were going to get a good deal and sit on their money. And I think people are starting to realize that the world is opening back up, and that, yes, we may go into a recession, but it's okay to still invest and be involved. And so in the last 2 weeks, we're getting more calls than we did pre-COVID. In that. So I'm seeing a huge uptick in interest in folks getting involved in something lately over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think that people are realizing that things are starting to shake out, and now it's a time to wake back up and get back into things. So it's been an interesting journey, because I couldn't get anybody to talk to me a couple months ago about investing, but now people are really, really, it's scaling up really, really fast.
How about sellers of apartments? Like, do they feel like they have the leverage now, or are they kind of like, maybe I should sell? Like, are you seeing the prices go up or down? For
the people that were thinking of selling, pre-COVID are more eager to sell, and their prices have dropped since COVID. There are people that I don't think COVID's going to force anybody to sell anytime soon. We're not seeing any type of distress, or like people that are like, upside down because of COVID just yet. Banks are doing workouts and stuff like that. I think that if there is going to be a real correction in real estate because of COVID, it's not going to hit for another couple of years. It'll be like a hand grenade. It got dropped today, but it's not going to hit for another month or another year or two. So I'm not seeing that, but I am seeing that folks that already wanted to sell, like distressed owners, tired owners. I shot a video on this. Tired owners are the ones that you guys want to pursue. And in the video, let's see if I can post it in the notes here. The tired owners are the ones that you guys can get good deals from today. If you want to wait for a foreclosure crisis to get good deals, you might have to wait a year or two, and I'm not sure if it's even going to happen or not. But tired owners have just got a lot more tired because of COVID. Thanks, Chris.
Cool. Anybody else have any other questions or anything? No, if not, we can maybe wrap up. Everyone's quiet tonight.
While you guys are chatting, I'm going to find that video and I'll post it in the feed here. What are you guys seeing? It doesn't have to be all about me. What are you guys seeing in the market? Anybody seeing residential real estate go down? I'm trying to flip. I got a flip I'm doing in Robbinsville, and I cannot seem to get a residential buyer out. Are you guys seeing a increase, decrease in the residential buyers market? Because I only got one flip right now, and it's kicking my freaking butt. Don't think just because I'm just some talking head on bigger pockets or something like that, I don't get my butt kicked. It happens all the time. So I'm getting my butt kicked right now on a flip that I'm doing in Robbinsville, and it's been on the market for like 3 months, and I can't get anything doing on it. So what are you guys seeing? Any flippers here?
I'll tell you, from a home inspection standpoint, we've been swamped like the last 3 weeks. We went from doing like 25 to 30 inspections a month, and now we're doing 15 a week. So we're swamped with home inspections, and I think the inventory is really low. So it's a competitive market for buyers, which coincides with the low interest rates. It makes those properties in like the 150,000 to like 450 like fly off the market. I think
it doesn't make me feel any better, Justin.
Yeah, you're probably above that, right? Yeah.
No, we're selling for. We have our asking is 675, but it's a like 3,500 square foot, 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath house. It's a big house with lots of beds, lots of baths, 2 master bedroom suites. It's huge. Maybe it's just in a odd niche that not many people need that type of that type of big old house. So
I think some of the more expensive houses, at least in South Jersey here, are taking a little longer to sell compared to that. Like the lower end, not lower end, but like 150 to 450 are going under contract within like 5 days typically, from what I'm seeing around there. So could have.
I've been hearing the same thing. I talked to a realtor today, and he said that pretty much every deal that he's doing is a multiple offer deal. So it seems like it's very competitive, but I think again, it's kind of in that, it's not on that higher end of the market.
Yeah. I normally don't do the higher, but we've done the best on the stuff below 400,000, even below 500,000, in that. So I don't know. I love flips, but I just don't think I've got the attention span for it. So I should just stick to bigger multifamily.
I have a question for you. When
What's
you're
up?
Doing private money, how, this might be in your book, but how do you, I'm assuming that if you're working with somebody who's never been a private lender before, that you now have to educate them on the process of private lending. Like, so this is the first thing we're going to do, and then you're going to send me your money this way. How do you learn, like, the process that you can then have someone trust you that you know the process when you don't?
I get it. So you're saying, like, when somebody comes in the door to invest with us, you know, how confident am I that I need to educate them on the process of how private money goes? Or is
I guess, like, I'm in the process of looking for private money outside of, like, my parents and my siblings. So I've done it with them, but it's been, you know, they are very trusting of me as an individual.
Yeah. They like you because you're you.
Right.
Guess who my first investors were? My parents too. That's
right.
okay.
So now
that
I might go out to, like, friends or people who I need to be more, like, professional and presentable with, and come off like I know the process better. I guess, how do you learn all those exact processes? Like, okay, we need to file this document on this day. I don't know. Like, do you have a good resource for that?
Are you seeking loans or equity?
Loans.
Okay. Good, because those are so much easier to understand. I mean, equity is, like, crazy more complicated. Loans are actually pretty straight up once you get your head around it. Here's an idea. You could, like, do a quick document called, like, How Investing with Lauren Works, you know, make it personable. If you're not going to, like, put it out there on social media and try and do, like, cast, like, a really big net, because in the book I talk about, like, you know, step one, friends and family, people that like you because you're you. That's where you start. And then you expand out from there. That's where you're at. And you're in step two. Step three is to try to become a thought leader and try and do more podcasting and magnetism to yourself and everything like that. But that's once you've built a big track record. At step two, it's beyond people that like and trust you because you're you, but you still have got that warm conversation. So all you really need to do is give them some sort of a step-by-step process. And it could be in writing. Again, listen, we've been doing this for years and I still have not done this, but I want to develop a video series that when people have that first call with me, I require that they've watched the 5 videos in the video funnel, and you can use ClickFunnels to make them watch each one of them or something like that, right? I gotta learn how to use ClickFunnels first, then I can do that, which I don't know how to do it. So I can, I've been wanting to do that because I find that I have the same conversation over and over and over when I talk to investors. But what you could do is just a 1-pager, especially for loans, like FAQs. For lenders are going to always ask you, how's my money protected? What's the interest rate are you going to pay? But that's like the 5th question. What the interest rate you're going to pay them is down the list. How's my money protected? When are you going to give it back to me? What kind of updates are you going to give me on what you're doing with the money? Are you using a title company, third party? Do I write the check to you or to your LLC or to a third party or whatever, right? They want to know logistics. And you have to explain, I mean, like, we all probably understand what terms like collateral mean. They don't know what collateral means. That's a funny word, you know? You got to explain that word to them. Explain to what collateral is and how they get it and what recourse means and all this other kind of stuff. And you could probably knock that out in, like, an FAQ or, you know, Invest with Lauren, this is how it works. Lauren's loans. There you go. Lauren's lending or something like that, you know? Why not? It's catchy, man. You know, come on.
I'll bet you some bucks for that one.
It's yours. So cheers. It's all yours. Freebie. So give me some of that vodka sitting behind you for my seltzer.
I know. Well, yeah, we, you know.
I got a bottle of that downstairs. Okay. It's okay. No, we're in a no judgment zone. I think that's what I would do, is make it super easy for them to understand, because you'll find that it'll be kind of like Groundhog's Day. And also, you know what? You make that one pager document, if you create that and put a lot of thought into it, it'll make sure that you cover everything, because you might forget to tell somebody something really important when you're doing the pitch to them. It's like really important for them to know, like, what kind of collateral and everything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. And then when you were kind of, and maybe still this, but when you were starting out, I guess someone gave us the idea of, like, sorry, my dog is like so crazy. Someone gave us the idea of creating like a sample fake deal of presenting to people so that they can get an idea of what potential deals look like. So when you finally do have a deal, they're more comfortable with the idea. It's like, do you think that's a good idea? Giving someone kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I do it all the time. I've done that. Sure. Well, the problem is that you want to build the investor database, the lending database, before you find a deal, because deals happen really quick, and deals are going to start. Yeah, if we go into a true for real Z-Reals recession, and if things start to do this, things that you think like 5 days for closings is crazy, or 5 days for stuff going under contract, it's going to be like really, really quick. Things are going to turn around in days. You know, so the good deals are going to get snapped up really quick, and you're not going to have time to go out and find, okay, here's the deal. Let me go call 6 investors and see what they say. You got to build your investor database. And then when you got a deal, just blast it out on your e-blast. Hey guys, first come, first serve. I got a deal, you know, $100,000 needed, 6-month turnaround, 10% interest rate, you know, come get it. Okay. So I think you have to use hypothetical deals, or it could be real deals that you find on the MLS, but they might be long gone by the time you present them to an investor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Because we did a BRRRR with private lenders previously, and we're thinking of just kind of like showing that as an example. Like, if we find another property that looks just like this one, which is very likely, you know. Yep. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, Lauren, I'm kind of going through the same thing right now in terms of seeking private money. And the one thing I'm struggling with is kind of, I guess, feeling like I know what I'm doing, kind of like what you said. So the one thing I did is I put together like a little one, like kind of what Matt was saying, a one-page document that breaks down the deal that I did in Collingswood. So, you know, the purchase, the renovations, the cash flow, cash on cash. I used the BP calculator to kind of get a nice little graph in there. So I've sent that out to a couple of people, mostly family, but just to get some feedback. And I'm surprised the feedback I've gotten is actually really impressed. Like, I just kind of was like, I just put it together in PowerPoint. Here it is. And people actually are like, oh, that's really cool what you're doing. I don't know. I guess it feels more legit than just saying like, oh, I invest in real estate, I have a rental property. It's like, well, here's the numbers. Like, you can see it for yourself. And then I guess that makes me a little bit more confident what I'm doing when I kind of have it on paper. So if you're interested, I could send you kind of the thing I put together. Maybe that would give you an idea of direction for something like that, a one-page doc.
Yeah, that'd be great.
BP calculator is a good idea.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, people think they're so fancy.
It is. It looks super nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta have a pro membership if you get a pro. You have to have a pro membership if you want to use it more than like 5 times.
Yeah.
That's kind of their hook.
Cool. If nobody else has any more questions, I guess we can wrap up.
You guys are letting me off easy tonight. I love it.
I'll throw another one in there.
Go ahead.
With the private lending, because when I talk to people, I seem to be doing all right. And then we get to the what ifs, and the what ifs are always scaring them away. What if you can't rent the house? What if you can't refinance? What if, you know, it costs way more? And, you know, that's kind of like, they're like, well, you know.
Yeah, you could what if your way out of anything, couldn't you? You know, you've got to go back to them. If it's private lending, it's a pretty straightforward deal. They've got so much collateral. If you do the deal right, you know, that what if isn't even a concern. Well, it's like, okay, well, I'm buying it for 50% of after repair value. So if I don't pay you back. You've got a property that's worth 200,000 that that I bought for 100, you know, before I did the work to it. Let's making numbers up, but so that's one, you know, response to that. What if it costs more? What if the construction costs more money? Well, guess what? That'll be my problem, not yours, because I'm not going to come to you looking for more money. You got to commit that I'll find more money. You know, I actually do have my own cash, or I could go borrow from somebody else, or I can get a low interest credit card and finish the deal, whatever it is, you know. So there's what I would do. And I wouldn't do like a document like I told Lauren to do, but what I would do is I would think about try and be on their side and think of all the what ifs. Okay, well, like you just said, what if your construction costs more? What if the market dips? What if? Write those down and then think about really good thought out answers to each one of those. And once you write them down, when they throw out the what ifs, you could say, well, you know, if the market drops 10%, guess what? I'm not going to do a deal that's only making a 10% margin. If it drops 10%, then instead of me making 30, I make, you know, 15. That's okay. Or I make 10, you know, but it's not going to affect you. So there's you know, responses to these things if you think them out. But if they blindside you with a what if, you might be like, I don't know. It's a good point. You know, so that's what I would do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think a lot of people, at least the people that I talk to, you know, is the collateral. And look, the collateral is going to be worth more than you invested. And, you know, but then it's kind of like, well, that's kind of not, you know, it's almost like they're not ready for the collateral. It's, you know, I don't know. It's almost like, well, what am I going to have to foreclose on you? Or are you going to sell the property? Or, you know.
Are you in Pennsylvania or New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Are you doing deals in Jersey or are you doing deals in PA?
Mostly New Jersey.
Okay. You could offer them a personal guarantee. If you're, for me, I'm willing a personal guarantee just about anything because I'll put my name, you know, I mean, it's kind of like my reputation. So it's a personal, I mean, if I don't believe in my deal, you know, then who am I? So I believe in what I do. And so I'm willing to put my name on the line on it. So you could do a personal guarantee. If you invest outside of New Jersey, you can do something called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. Which is pretty much means that like, instead of you having to go through all that foreclosure headache, here's the deed, you know, and they can go and rake the deed back and take the property like that. But you can't do deed in lieu in New Jersey. So, but personal guarantees are, I mean, they're scary because they can like, I mean, yeah, they got to sue you, but it's like, why would I put myself through all that? That you could come and take my house and my car and my this and my that. Just over a real estate loan? No, I'll just pay you back because that's what they want. They don't want to. They're right. They don't want to come get your stuff. They want to just you know, get the money back, right? If you're asking them to lend on construction, you can get them to do draws, meaning like that they just send you the money when you need it, and they can kind of hold the money, the construction money over here, and dole it out to you as you need construction advances to keep the project going. That's a way for them to have some control over the deal. Oddly enough, that's how my YouTube channel got started, because I shot videos for this guy that was up in North Jersey that was too lazy to drive to South Jersey to come look at this deal to do a construction draw. So I shot a YouTube video for him and I sent it to him to say, hey, listen, here's what we did. Here's the kitchens, here's the bathrooms, here's this, here's that, here's this. And I put it on YouTube and people started commenting on it. You know, it was like, oh, people like this kind of stuff. So that's how that got born. But we were just doing construction draws is what we've always done, because it also saves you money. You don't have to pay interest on their money until you have it. That's how you can negotiate, but it also gives them a ton of control over the deal.
Yeah, that helps. Thanks.
Sure.
Dan, I would also say just be trying to not educate yourself, but be prepared for like the most common questions that you think someone might ask you. I don't know if you have Joe Fairless syndication book, but he's got like 5 pages worth of like the most common questions in there. And a lot of them are like stuff that you would think of, stuff that you wouldn't think of, but pretty much anything that anyone could ever ask you when pitching capital, you know, borrowing capital from them was in there. I can maybe PDF that to you.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah.
Hi, Matt. It's Edwin. I have a quick question.
Hey,
this would be more like a peace of mind for us. We're approaching to closing on our first multifamily house here in Jersey. So how do you know it'll be a house hacking turnkey property? Well, how do you know it's the right buy and not just rushing into something?
You don't. You just got to put one foot in front of the other, brother, and understand that, have enough faith in yourself and faith in all of it, that it's going to work out if you just keep trying and stay in there and don't get discouraged and quit. The only way that you can fail in life is if you quit. Okay. So what you overpay 10 grand, or so what you buy in a neighborhood that changes. So what you didn't know that there was aluminum wiring in the walls. Well, you should have called Justin to have him inspect the property for you. Did Justin inspect the property?
No, I just joined. This is the first time I'm joining.
And when you closing?
We haven't closed yet.
Have you had inspection done yet? Have you inspection done yet?
Yeah, we
did.
He's a
North guy,
I think, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, we'll forgive you for that. Just use the right professionals, get good lending, and just do your best to make sure, and make sure that you have done your best in evaluating the deal, and then commit to it. Kind of like, burn the ships when you land, and that, just like, I'm not turning back. I'm going to figure this deal out. How many units is it?
2 units.
Are you going to live there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Congrats. House hack.
Thank you.
Are you on your math? What is going to be your living expenses?
We're thinking, we're planning on rent the second floor, which has an annex.
And you're gonna live on the first floor.
And we're gonna live on the first floor, which is the smaller apartment.
Smart man.
Okay. So I'm thinking like 1,500.
That's gonna be you're gonna pay 1,500 to live there.
Right.
What? Okay. Well, what area is this in?
In Passaic.
Okay. And the tenant's gonna pay how much?
2,000.
So your cost of the property is 3,500 a month.
Yeah.
Wow. Stuff's expensive up in Passaic, huh?
It is.
What is it, like 600,000?
Well, actually, the property value is 450.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm doing my math wrong. Oh, your taxes are high. That's what it is.
Yeah.
How much are the taxes?
I believe there were 12,000.
I don't miss New Jersey. I moved to PA a year ago. Okay. I got it. So that's awesome, because you would have to pay probably north of 2,000 to live in that unit if you didn't house hack it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saving at least $500 a month.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is the unit upstairs in good condition? Is there somebody living in there now?
It's a brand new renovated house, and it's vacant.
The unit upstairs is vacant.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure you can get 2,000 for it?
We're thinking of doing another bathroom to even get a little more than that. But the price on the market is at least 2,000.
Okay. You can do to give yourself some peace of mind so you can sleep at night, because I can tell you maybe not sleeping too much these days. So you can sleep at night. You can do a test market ad for the apartment. Go over there, shoot some pictures of it, or just pull some pictures off the listing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Put a move-in date after closing and put it on the market right now. And tell people, hey, when people call you, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I'm going to rent this out. I just wanted to see if people might be interested. I'll put you on a waiting list. I'll let you know, right? If you get no phone calls, then, it's too high in rent. If you get 87 phone calls in 3 days, then you're probably underpriced, okay?
Okay.
That's a good way to determine, and that'll give you that peace of mind. You got to figure, I'll give you one last thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you really worried about?
It's just that, if we're gonna be able to make just the money for the mortgage and not so much of
the $3,500 for the tenant not being in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have some extra? I mean, are you gonna be able to make? It's a good
no.
We can. Are you gonna be able to do that?
No. Definitely, we can make the payment on our own. So
$3,500.
Right. We're not dependent on the
And
tenants.
what are you worried about?
I don't know. It's just a lot of money.
What are you worried about?
It's just, it's the first property. It's a huge amount of money.
It's awesome. You're right. It's a lot of money, and I hope that one day it feels like less to you, because it will. It feels like a lot today because of the check you got to write. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you won, like you got a good deal, and don't worry so much. Celebrate it. Have fun with it, and now find a way to bring it from here to here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You got nothing to worry about.
Thank
okay.
you.
All right. It's going to be great. It's not going to be good. It's going to be great. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And find ways to make that 2,000, 2,400 by giving them a laundry in their apartment, or giving them that extra bathroom. Okay. Something like that. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, man. That made my day right there. Cool. What else you guys got? Do my Dr. Phil moment here. What's that?
This is Sean. Quick question for you, Matt, or Lauren, or Jacob, anyone that's done private lending specifically from family. I'm trying to do a small burr next. I'm actually closing on a HELOC tomorrow morning for my primary residence, which I should be able to fund acquisition and rehab through that, but it will limit the neighborhoods I can look at. So I'd love to go to some family and say, if I find something that I need another 20 or 30 grand that I can tap into. I like the idea of family as opposed to hard money, because given the interest rate, I think it's win-win. I'd love to pay someone that I know 10% on their money than, a private lender, or hard money. So anyway, just interested in how folks have structured, what terms they're seeing for, private lending, specifically kind of.
Even what kind of interest rates?
Yeah, or just interest rates, other terms. I'm just not that familiar with it. I'm somewhat familiar with what you see from hard money these days, but I don't have a sense of how, if it is a family member, how the terms usually differ and just what that looks like.
I think that I've seen most investors that I see overpay for private money. And I'm guilty of that too, because I've had my first private investors, air quote, were charging me hard money rates. They were like, hey, 12 plus 3, and that. So I paid less and less. The longer I've been doing this, I pay less and less for private money, because I realize that, seasoned investors know that you can get 8, 9, 10, or that they think they can get 8, 9, 10, 12 for money. But you might find that the immediate family you're talking to is just fine and can meet their wealth goals if you pay them 6 or 7, and that's a win-win, right? Maybe that's a good enough win. So I would let them say, what rate of return do you want on your money? What's a win for you? Well, stock market's down 30% right now, so I'd love to get 6% on my retirement account. Great. Okay, I can do that. What matters a lot to investors that I see is monthly checks. I try not to do it when I was doing a lot of flips and burrs and stuff like that. Lauren, do you do monthly checks?
We originally agreed to monthly checks, and then they're like, just give it to me at the end.
Mm-hmm. So. If you get them to do that, great. But some people want monthly checks, especially if they're getting the money off of a home equity line, then they need a monthly check. Free and clear real estate is a super untapped resource in private money. If you can get somebody to put HELOC on their house, they take the HELOC, lend it to you, and you pay them a monthly that covers the HELOC monthly payment and then some for their pocket, right? That's another way to do it. But let them govern the rate, and then as Lauren said, if they're like, oh, just pay me at the end, that a lot of my investors do that too, and that's a huge benefit to you, right? What else can I tell you? It depends on the family and what their comfort level is. The one mistake I don't want to see you do is I've seen people that have struck deals with family or friends and decided, oh, it's family, I won't do the paperwork. My sister moved out of her house, and she moved out of her house and bought another house, kept this house and rented it out to a friend of hers. Okay. Leased it to her friend, didn't draw a lease because it's her friend, right? No big deal. Friend falls back on her rent. A friend ends up owing her months and months and months and months worth of rent, and she can't evict her now because she doesn't have a lease. So it gets, it gets bad. It can get bad in instances like that. Now, this is not the case anymore. I told her, hey, why don't you call your freaking real estate investor brother? And I could have helped you with that. But this happened and she didn't even tell me. But anyway, God bless her. What I would say to you is just don't treat your family any different than you would treat somebody off the street with regards to the docs you're going to do. And they might say, oh, don't worry about a note. I know you're good for it. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Don't fall for that. Do full doc. Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sean, just to chime in, I borrowed some money from my parents to buy this investment property in Collingswood, and I just did a simple promissory note, and I did 5-year term with no prepayment, and I did a 4% interest rate. It's parents, so but like Matt kind of said, with the stock market kind of being so volatile, it's just to them, they're helping their son out, and it's also they're getting a solid return on their money. But the other thing you could do that I've read into a little bit is you could have, if they want something more legit than a promissory note, is they could put a secondary lien on the property, but that's just more paperwork involved. So that's just ways you can do it. But as far as the promissory note, there's a ton of templates on there. You could involve a lawyer, but I did something where it made it unique for New Jersey. I signed up for this subscription and it just created one for me, and I didn't have a lawyer review it, but it's family. So it's at least something legit to have the amortization schedule and all that stuff.
Yeah, they know where to find you.
It's pretty basic. It's just not worth not jumping through the few hoops of paperwork.
Yeah, it's super easy. I just have it set up where I'd Venmo them the first of every month, and at some point, if I ever refinance, I'll just pay the $18,000 or whatever the balance is on it. And yeah, it's I don't know. I guess I got wrapped up in it too when I first started thinking about it. It's like, well, how do you do it? How do you make it legit? And it's just especially with family, it's, you have a 3-page document, breaks down the payments, and then Venmo, PayPal, however you want to give them the money every month. It doesn't get really simpler than that.
Cool. Thank you.
Sean, what I have done for that situation was just to pay, I'll do 1-year terms on a Burr property, borrow say 75,000, and then put a percentage an interest rate on it, sign a promissory note, then I just pay the whole thing back at the end. I've done that with friends and family for private lending. But you can it's kind of however you guys want to draw it up. There's no set term, there's no set you guys kind of make your own rules on that, whatever you guys are both comfortable with.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, cool. I guess we'll wrap up then. Matt, really appreciate you coming on and giving us some info here.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Want to run through again the text 66668?
Yeah, just a quick reminder. Just text the word DeRosa to 66866 and you get a bunch of free stuff, and free videos, and it's not so much dated. It's what's in there is we have 3 property managers that reacted to COVID very differently, and so we put the letters that our property managers wrote that they distribute, say, hey, this is what we're going to do to deal with COVID, and the different strategies are there. And it's just, although, we're in a different place now than we were when COVID began, it's still good lessons on, how management tactics and stuff like that. So that's in there. And again, like I said, a couple of videos that are not available anywhere else, not on my YouTube channel or anything like that. Actually, I shot them a couple of years ago. I shot them for freebies for Bigger Pockets when I was teaching webinars for them. But since I'm not doing that anymore right now, I'm like, I'll just give it to you guys. So I took the videos down and I get they're there. So you can get them by texting the word DeRosa, DEROSA to 66866.
Cool. All right, thanks, Matt, and thanks everyone.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna have this recorded, so I'll save it and send it out to the group. I got everyone's email.
Thanks, guys.
send it out. Thanks, Matt. Talk to you.
Looking forward to doing this thing face to face at some point soon, man.
Yeah, we're hoping maybe next
Yeah.
next month or after
We'll
that.
be there.